Hey, we're live on YouTube. It's Saturday, the last day of the month, and welcome to the Rich. Why am I doing this? Crazy. Because I've only had 3 cups of coffee. Okay. The Rich Lieberman Media Pulse. It is Saturday. And if you're watching live, thank you. If you're watching at another time, welcome aboard. As I've always said, um, you get with me what you don't get anywhere else, at least in the Bay Area, and that is media, opinion, coverage, scoops every now and then, commentary, uh, emphatic and unfiltered opinion without being beholden to the very companies that want to, in some ways, control your thought and give you a bunch of BS and not give you the real deal. That's quite a large statement from me. But those of you who have been reading me and watching me for some time now on YouTube, this is approaching month number 11. And of course, I wrote a blog in the Bay Area and still plan to do some blogging. But for now, this is my way of communicating with you folks and hopefully trying to give you entertaining content and informative information, all that stuff, and try to be as real as possible. And look, I'm not bragging. Nobody can brag in this. Hell, the Pope can't brag. Mother Teresa couldn't brag. I used to say Mother Teresa, she used to walk around and, kill ants and swat at flies just like the rest of nobody's perfect. All right. I'm not comparing myself to either of those people, by the way. I'm just, I know my deal here. You know my deal here. Never claimed or claim to be anything other than what I am and what I give you. As far as few things, and don't go anywhere. You're sipping coffee or tea and you're having your breakfast, or if you're watching later on and maybe you're eating a bowl of spaghetti, welcome aboard again. Um, we, I say we, I keep saying we, it's me. I do everything here, right? I put on a show, sometimes pretty damn good. Sometimes, a few times, marginal and all that. I'm the most critical person of me is me. So bear with me. But what this past week taught me is the fact that, and by the way, I'm branching off already, but that's Rich. Thank you to Timothy and Jeffrey for donating and all that. And I really appreciate that because that keeps me going so I can continue to give you this wonderful stuff. So I have a picture of Cronkite. Oh, by the way, other people who have donated and contributed and subscribed to my YouTube show now. Thank you also. Spread the word because you never know. Life is so different these days. But I'm here pretty much every day. Sometimes I got business to do. Sometimes I have issues to take care of and that kind of a thing. So, but I'm here and I talk about Bay Area media and I give you my opinion. Sometimes I go a little bit overboard, but it's from the heart. So whatever. But what this past week has shown to me, and somebody sent me a rather provocative comment about the fact that he or she, I don't know what sex it was, doesn't matter, that these people that work in the business, I think he was refer she, I was talking about all this ego and drama taking place at Channel 7, KGO, ABC 7, however they're identified. And this person was kind of making the point like, who are these people? Shouldn't they be happy? They've got a good job. And even if it's a stressful job, bad job, they got a gig. And they take themselves way too seriously. And all this drama and all this, hey, look, you got a job to do. Your job is to whether it's reading a teleprompter, giving the news, radio, what have you, writing a column for a newspaper, even though we really don't have any newspapers here. Don't take yourself too seriously. And that's something that I've learned. I hate to keep talking about the fact that but let's face it, a lot of you come here because you want to see me opine and talk about the various time elements, what we're dealing with. And I never took myself seriously. You know what I did, folks? I understood that, and especially when I got a job when I was 19 at K101, and got to go to the Democratic convention in '84 at the Moscone Center, and I covered a couple of Super Bowls, and I was on the floor of the Democratic convention. Got to talk to the Senator Kennedy, Fritz Hollings, had a chance to talk to Mondale, and I'm saying to myself, "Wow, this is so utterly cool, right?" And sometimes I wonder, it's not just me, many of you with absolutely legitimate reasons. Do these people ever stop and, I don't want to say pinch themselves, but that they understand that their gig is so precious and that they kind of take everything for granted? First and foremost, they have a job to do, and that is first and foremost to inform the viewership, or in the case of if we had radio here, which we don't, listeners. That's their responsibility. Not to be pretty, not to get into really nanny, insipid cat fights or dog fights or whatever the hell you want to call it. Your job, your duty is to give out the news and talk about opinion. Fine, if you have an opinion show and all that, and they just don't do that. It's all about them as opposed to concentrating on the fact that they're serving a role. And that's why a lot of people, this is just part of it, but a lot of people have no faith in the media. They have no faith. They look at the media with a lot of, disgust and angst, and as a bunch of overinflated egoitis folks that they are. Look what's happening nationally. I used to think the whole ripping the media and, this, that, with the mainstream media and all that, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. But if you look around, and particularly with this election that we have, and all this, look at CNN. I was disgusted with the Harris interview with her vice president, Dana Bash. I thought she did an okay job. It wasn't anything good. And by the way, CNN, they put a graphic up, and it was entirely false. They had a live bug up in the corner of your screen. Live. It wasn't live. The interview was taped. Was not live. It may have been live when they did it, which was earlier in the day, but it was not live. And by the way, folks, this is not a Republican is great, Democrats are bad, Democrats good, Republicans bad kind of a thing. I am an independent. I'm registered as a Democrat because I've been lazy and I haven't changed my affiliation. And I'm kind of on the fence. I'm meandering off on a subject here, but my point is be truthful, be upfront, and don't act like egomaniacs that a lot of these people have become. And again, it's especially evident during this election season. And on that, again, I find it an abomination that we don't have any radio news talk outlets here in the Bay Area. I'll say it a million times. We have an election taking place. We have all these news items happening. And look at all the news. Look at all the local news. We have a mayor's election coming up in San Francisco. We have a situation in Oakland with a pretty much ridiculous, inept DA in Alameda County, which I'm sure you've heard about. a complete absentee mayor in Oakland who doesn't know how to govern, is basically helpless. We have issues in San Jose and the tech crisis and tech people being laid off. All these issues, international issues, the war in Gaza, Israel, Lebanon, what's taking place in Europe with various issues, the war in Ukraine and Russia, all this stuff. And we don't have an avenue to which we, being you citizens and informed people, for the most part, don't have an outlet in which we can vent or schmooze or talk about what is taking place. I mean, I don't mean to be sanctimonious. An election, for God's sakes. One of the parties, Kamala Harris, who's right from here in my hometown in Oakland, and the first Black woman presidential candidate, a vice president, and all this stuff that we don't have a chance to talk about. That is malpractice personified. And it's ridiculous in an area as rich as we are, with billionaires and millionaires in the tech world, all these folks who have the means to go out and get a radio station, that kind of a thing. And we don't have a radio station in the Bay Area. Number 5 market is abominable. It's outrageous. I'll say it a million times, and I'll say it a million and one times. It is outrageous. It's ridiculous. I find it unbelievable. I'll keep saying it. Hell, there are markets like Miami and Toledo and Portland, Seattle. I'm just naming a few cities off the top of my head, much smaller markets. Des Moines, Pensacola, Pittsburgh, they all have talk stations. And here we are, the land of free speech in the 60s and all the stuff that we're known for here in the Bay Area, the supposedly cosmopolitan Bay Area. And we don't even have a radio outlet. And again, I know about the internet, I know about satellite radio and all that stuff. I'm just talking about a local terrestrial outlet, AM or FM. That's number 1. That's unbelievable. And a newspaper. No, we don't have a newspaper or newspapers. And I realize newspapers are dying and are going to hell, at least the written kind, the paper newspapers. Chronicle, a joke. The Bay Area News Group papers, pretty much a joke. Some of them, and there are people that do a really good job. So it's not all decrepit. But by and large, we do not have a newspaper in the San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, Bay Area, all of that. We're like, the newsprint poltergeist. Nothing. It's all scary in a different way. So, and our news outlets, the Channel 2s and the Channel 5s, KPIX, KTVU, KGO, I used to watch all of these stations, and we had some really, really good anchors. McElhatton, Van Amberg, Marcia Branwin, Anna Chavez, Pam Moore, Pete Wilson, Dennis Richmond, although he was a little overrated. But we used to have such quality people, and our radio, which again, we don't have radio, but of all the people in the media that we had here, and now we've just become sort of vanilla, the little media we have left. And I understand my original point. I understand the angst and the disgust and, quite frankly, the anger that a lot of people have towards the media. And it's not just here, it's nationally. And all these partisan people like a CNN who claim they're sort of, in the middle, away from from the opinionated ones, when they're not. They have obvious biases. And Fox News and MSNBC, these folks, they can't be objective. And even the ones that try to be, most of them are pretty phony. And you all see that. And I get all that. And I, having once worked in the media, I totally get the frustration and the disgust, the angst about the way people feel about media. The media used to be objective. They tried to be. Nobody could be really, really objective. We all have our opinion. We all have the way we lean. And most people see that. They saw it. When I was growing up in the 70s, those of you who are a little older remember in the 60s, but they tried. I can't read the New York Times anymore, folks. I cannot read the New York Times. Fine journalists, but they all have biases and they come off as pompous assholes, and they have a bent. They have a total, you know, and the New York Times used to be, all the news that's fit to print, the paper of record, all that. Can't read them anymore. They're so damn biased. And historical things that they didn't cover, that they're being blamed for. And they only exist because they're in the New York Times, right? What else do we have? The Washington Post. They have biases too. I used to love the Christian Science Monitor. It had nothing to do with Christianity. It was a solidly objective paper. Really terrific. They're no longer with us. So now we're reduced to the Drudge Report, and he's kind of gone off towards, center left. If you watch or read the Drudge Report, used to be totally conservative, right wing now. Matt Drudge is decidedly gone off, uh, certainly anti-Trump, which that's another story altogether. But we don't have much sacredness in our media today, and especially here. And I find that rather sad. But I'm a realist. I understand what's going on, and that's the way it is these days. So anyway, it's Saturday. Boy, did I cover a lot, right? And look, a couple of things with regards to me. I thank you all who have contributed to my site, and I'm having guests, some of whom I booked. I don't want to announce it till it's 100% firm. Got Joe Starkey, the former very, very heralded play-by-play for Cal and for the Seals and just 49ers. Joe Starkey will be here on September 12th. That's a Thursday at 11 o'clock Pacific time. And if you miss it live, you can always watch it later. So, I had some guests on. Having a lot more. We are a live forum. I've talked about the fact, just mentioned it. Those of you that donate, it truly just so I can pay bills that relate to this site. My monitor, my computer, high speed internet, and the means to which I can deliver a show and give you live, hopefully in the future, interactive content where you can comment. I invite you all to comment and give me feedback. You don't have to be snarky. If you disagree and you have an opinion, oh, please, please. I love that. I want that. I encourage that, ladies and gentlemen. You can all disagree from time to time. It's the essence of a free democracy is debate. Love that. Encourage that, as I just said. We don't have to take everything so personally. And I'm just here, folks, trying to fulfill something for you all. I realize I'm not everybody's cup of tea or coffee, but I'm here. So contribute whatever amount you can do. I know a lot of you are on fixed incomes. I know a lot of you are in the tech world, which is undergoing a lot of drama and layoffs and all that. But I also know that a lot of you watch me and enjoy myself and what I talk about are doing pretty well. And so another $10 or $20 or beyond that, I really appreciate. All of that goes so I can pay my expenses. I ain't making any money for now. I've only been at this just under a year, and I like giving you an outlet where it's all from the heart. In my case, there's no, filtered shit. I'm not here, doing a sermon and telling you what you should do or what you shouldn't do. You know what I do. And I enjoy it. I don't take my little gig here for granted. And I always enjoy talking to you. And I have some of the most amazing people. And look, I'm not flashy. I don't have these graphics and backdrops, and I don't have corporate sponsorship like some of these folks that used to work at KGO. It's all with them filtered crap. They don't go out and talk like about this. They have their headphones and their pretty little backgrounds and all that. And I'm not denigrating them, but I guess I am. And whatever. I'm open about it. You always know one thing about me. My name is above the masthead. I don't talk behind people's back. If I rip, I rip, and I am public about it. Okay? So, enough of the semi sermonizing. Please make a donation if you can. I will personally thank you and maybe have a conversation with you, maybe give you a coffee mug that I'm working on. See, me and KQED, we have a lot in common. And do not be a stranger. Commentary. If you have some feedback, if you want to talk about something, have a suggestion. Investors, do email me, rich.lieberman. That's rich.lieberman@gmail.com. You can find me on the web. I'm easily available. Okay. Hey, have a great Saturday. Remember, donate. Please subscribe to my channel. Tell everybody. And thanks for watching.